Handle Your High with Tadayoshi. All right, welcome. Hey, welcome, Juan. Welcome to Handle Your High with me, Tadayoshi. Thanks for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Juan Diesel here, and this is my crib. I'm at home, just chilling with my girls.
I know you. I see sometimes on your Instagram you have your daughter and stuff like that. I thought it was really cute. The other day, I think it was the other day, you had her. She was saying hi to everybody and answering questions.
Actually, right when we were starting, she was sitting in my lap trying to, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I just need a couple of seconds so I could, put this together because I didn't have the Skype, so I had to, put it together. And she was like, just sitting here and just hanging out.
How old is your daughter now?
She's 3.
3? And then you have 2, right?
Yeah, I have an older one.
You have an older daughter or younger?
Yes.
How old is she?
The older one is 17.
Oh wow. Okay. Wow. I remember when your younger daughter was born a couple years ago. I remember when your wife was pregnant. So I remember seeing her at the show. I was pregnant. Now for me, my favorite part of my life is being a father. So I imagine that's the same for you, right?
Yeah, it changed a lot. I mean, Isabella changed my life a lot because I know I have an older daughter, 17 years old, but I was so young when I had her that it was different when you get older and you actually experience life in a different way. I know every time she was doing something new, I was like, oh my God. And like with my older daughter, I don't remember that. That's because I was so young. It's like, your mindset is in a whole different place. So when she was born, she changed everything, like my mindset in bodybuilding, everything. So it's like she's number one in my life right now. And then bodybuilding used to be, something that was the first thing. Now, bodybuilding is, second after my family.
I can see that. I know for me, I had my daughter when I was 39, and she's almost 10 now, which is kind of surreal to even think about that. I can have real conversations with her and stuff. But it's pretty cool. But I definitely changed my life all for the better. I tell people that my favorite title that I ever have in this life is father.
It's amazing.
It really is, especially girls. Now, I wanted a girl. I remember my ex-wife. She was like, "What do you want, a boy or a girl?" And I said, "I want a girl." I guess I grew up with a brother, and I love my twin brother, but I don't know. I just always wanted a girl, so something I could really push my love at. That was just me, though.
I agree. I was the same way. I wanted a girl. Girl, you get, they bring out the soft spot of you when you're with a boy. It's okay to be they do something wrong. It's like you're like, hey, what are you doing? You're like pretty much they get away with anything. I mean, at least with me, she does.
Oh, my ex-wife used to tell me, "Oh, you just think you're Kiana could do no wrong." I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And if I had a boy, my brother, he's got 2 sons, and one's, I think he's just going to turn 18 this year. The other one's 20, going to turn 21 this year, and he was I think I would have been kind of like him. He was a little harder on him. Hey,
on the conversation.
I would have been harder on I would have been much harder, I think, on the son, probably because I'm a man and
yeah,
I want to you got to prepare for the world.
Strong. You don't want him to be. I
want to be prepared for the world, right? Hey man, the world's not gonna be nice to you sometimes. You gotta be able to stand up for yourself. But for girls, man, I don't know. I want to protect her.
Yeah, exactly. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, what's your name?
It's Bella.
Bella? Oh, you know what that means? It means beautiful. And you're beautiful. I know it. I can see it.
Hi. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to take a bath.
Okay, well, got to be clean.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, she's sweet. Now, you live right there in New York, right?
Yeah, I live in Long Island.
Long Island, okay. I knew you lived somewhere. Because I always see you go train at Bev's Gym and stuff like that, right?
10 minutes away, yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the Long Island area. If there was a place I was going to live in New York, it'd be in the Long Island area. Some of those, it's a lot of, I've been in Brooklyn, all these other places, very congested, a lot of people. I'm okay with that visiting. But, now, now I should already know this, but I don't. But where did you grow up? Or did you grow up near there? Or?
I grew up in the borderline between Brooklyn and Queens. So I grew up, around there, tough neighborhood. And then as I got older, I moved out. When I was 18, I moved out of there. And I lived everywhere after that. I lived in Co-op City in the Bronx. I lived in New Rochelle. I lived in the city.
Oh, wow.
A little bit of time, a little bit of time in each borough. And, my favorite is Long Island.
So New York is really your home. Like you're like rooted in it. You know all the different places.
Yeah.
My ex-wife, my second wife, was born in Brooklyn. And so but her family on that side lives in Long Island now. And so we would spend time out there every year, and then I would go train at Bev's and stuff like that when I would come out there for the summers. But it was, but I liked it. When it's nice, it's really nice. But when it's cold, it's like here, like Chicago, it can get kind of snowy and cold. It's like I see you're all hooded up and everything, and I'm still not used to it.
I'm hooded up all year round.
Oh, really?
I'm one of those guys like I like to train like this. I don't know. I just, even when it's summer, and it's in the heat. If you ever catch me in Vegas too for the Olympia, you'll see me that I'm hooded up. But then mostly everybody is. But I'm hooded up. It's just me all the time. And like my wife is like, "You look crazy. You need to take off that hoodie. It's summertime."
Did you get hot? Doesn't it get hot?
Well, I mean, I guess, but like I'm so used to it, so it's like it doesn't bother me. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's okay. Like everyone's got their thing.
I don't get cold either. So I mean, I like the cold. So it's like this is my jacket, a sweater. So it's just feels good.
The funny thing is, when I moved here to Chicago, moved from Pittsburgh a year and a half ago to here to Chicago, and even though I live in Pittsburgh, like the winters aren't super well, they're long, but they're not super long. But I moved from like the West Coast, right? I lived in California, and I grew up in Las Vegas, so I didn't even have like a jacket. I still don't have a jacket.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm very hot-blooded. So I remember this year, my girlfriend, she's got all these jackets, all this stuff, because she grew up here. And I'm like, I don't have a heavy gear, but I like wearing stuff like you wear here when it gets cold, like wearing like a hoodie, something like covered up. But when I was, I remember even when I was growing up in like when I was in Oregon, when I went to college there, I always stayed like I always had sweatshirts on, and then tank tops underneath. But I always, man, I got to get it off, man. Because once I start sweating, man, I got to get it off. I want to see what's going on, That's me, though.
I'm very weird. Like I don't know. I'm very self-conscious. I don't know why it's weird. Like I'm a bodybuilder and I get on stage and I gotta show. Like even in my gym, like if anybody sees me in a tank top, they're like, "Yo, like what's going on?" They know it's like a photo shoot or something like that, but or maybe an Instagram video. But I'm always covered up, always. I don't know, I just feel weird, like, I don't know. I'm also not a big attention seeker, so I guess, like, like I say, when I go, I'm pretty big, and if I go in a tank top and I go food shopping or hang out, it's going to cause a lot of attention, and I usually try to be, kind of,
I remember when I was a lot bigger, even now today, because my arms and shoulders are pretty prominent, I don't like wearing tank tops and stuff like that in public unless I have something to put over, because you get all the questions.
Yeah.
And it's like when I went to Thailand last year, see in Asia, as you know, you've been there probably, but they're not very big people.
I've never been to Asia, not yet.
Okay, well, they're not very big people. So China, Japan, like Thailand, like when I was in Thailand, they like you would be like a monstrosity, like an odd, total. But even me, like I'm 5'7", and I'm like 210 pounds. I'm always pretty lean, but my arms stick out. So like I had to wear tank tops because it's hot over there. But people, they just want to go up to, they want to grab your arms. And they mean the best things for it. They don't mean anything bad, but it's like you're just such an oddity. It's like really. Even my brother, when he went to Singapore a couple years ago, and he's not as big as I am. He's 185 pounds, I think he was. He said that people would walk up to him and they would call him Muscle Man. They would like try to grab his arms, and they just.
When I go to DR, I try to go there every year on vacation. They're not big people either over there, believe it or not. I mean, I know that you got me, John, and Victor, and then Justin. We're big bodybuilders, I guess, because we've been training, and we're but they don't have they're not really big people over there. And when I go over there and that gets really hot over there, I have to wear a tank top, especially if I'm there for too long, going to the beach and stuff like that. And then it's like, oh my God, it gets crazy. Like we went to the beach and it was just like, oh my God, it was a little too much, you know. But I always smile and have fun, but you know, sometimes people get a little too out of hand. So, you know,
it's kind of funny because it gets, I didn't like that kind of attention either. I was never an attention seeker. I did it for very personal reasons. So what got you into? Because I've never asked you this. What got you into bodybuilding? Like why did you start? And when did you start?
I started, my first show was 2007, and I did the East Coast and Easterns, and I started training 2004. So my whole thing was when I started training, I just wanted to kind of get a big chest. So I got the, you know, what everybody else does. Let me get a flex, let me get a muscle fitness, you know, and started getting to magazines, looking at routines, on the routines. And then I kind of got into like the Hope Fitness thing, and, you know, I decided to get certified and, you know, on personal training, on nutrition and all that. I just got more into the fitness first. I wasn't even thinking about bodybuilding, and it kind of just was working out. And I remember like 6 months into the gym, people looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing? I know nothing. So like, wow, like you just, you know, like in 6 months, you blew up. So I still, you know, I kind of was just more into that. At the same time, I was kind of doing a little bit of boxing and, you know, back and forth. So I would like train with weights and go boxing. And then I kind of like, I know it was like around 2007. There was like 4 or 5 weeks out into the show. And, you know, I just said, you know what, let me do a show. I was just looked at the back of the magazine. Everything was through the back of the magazine. What's in New York? So I saw and right here in New York, like I said, I had nothing. I knew nothing about the scene just from what I read in magazines. Like, you know, I knew who Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler were from the magazines and stuff like that. But I didn't know anything, you know, like, so I, you know, looked at the magazines. I reached out to Dave Palumbo and I was like, hey, you know, like, can you help me get ready for a show? It was like 4 weeks. I was already shredded.
So you stayed pretty lean all year round. You've always stayed
when I was like, you know, I still stay pretty lean in the off season. Nothing like I was when I was younger. I mean, when I started bodybuilding, I was just so lean all the time, and fast metabolism. When I faster than it was now, like back then. So I was in the single digits, and I was 4 weeks out, and then I was like, hey, can we do a show and stuff like that? And then we decided to do the East Coast. I got second place. There was like 30 competitors at my first show. But the East Coast is not as big as the Eastern, the competition. So I got second place. I looked awesome, and I was like, all right, let's go. So I went to the Easterns a week later. I was like, all right, did that. Let me do this show. And I got dead last there. John De La Rosa got second. There was an all-star lineup. Marco Rivera was there.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there's so many pros that actually competed at that show, and they all competed. You know, it was just weird. So then after that, like I was hooked, and then I just, you know, after that I just started bodybuilding. I was still all natural at that show too. So yeah.
I remember because a lot of guys get into the bodybuilding for various reasons. Like they want to aspire to that. It sounds like you just kind of fell into it of sorts.
I just like out. You know, I was more into the training and stuff like that. So
I think that's probably in many ways it's probably healthier because most of the people that I know, and I've been in the industry for 34 years, and men, women, both alike. If you get the ones who get into it for competition are usually trying to validate themselves in many ways, like make themselves feel better about themselves. I absolutely did, because I was such a small little guy, so I wanted to be bigger, right? And so, but when you find out that you have some kind of aptitude for it through the process of you just loving to train, is probably a lot of help. That's probably why you don't feel like you want to wear a tank top, because some of those guys and gals, you know, like posting butt pictures every day and like, you know, or like, you know, wearing tank tops everywhere, trying to be swole, you know, like that's okay. I mean, everyone has the right to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I can't judge, you know, but I know for me, I just feel uncomfortable, and I didn't get into it because of like, I love competing. I got so hooked, but it was more for me. I'm just competitive. I used to play handball as a kid. I played basketball. I love sports. So I was very competitive. And to me, it was just, you like I love to train. So when I did that show and I kind of like got both, like just I love the intensity of it. That's why people always like I was a lot crazier in my training back then than I am now. Now I'm a lot smarter. But
you mean like you used to train heavier, or you used to train?
Was a lot like it was just crazy. I mean, I used to with Akeem, we used to squat crazy weight, deadlift crazy weight.
I think it's funny because all the names you've mentioned, they're all. I said I think it's funny because all the people that you've mentioned, like Akeem and John, and all these guys are pros. They're really wonderful bodybuilders, and that group, people don't realize, I think, how small this group is, especially in terms of like all the best guys and these areas like New York, and like it used to be the West Coast. Now it's really kind of like the East Coast, and how everyone knows each other.
Yeah, we have all each other's back. We love each other. We have a lot of respect for each other. We hang out. We like even more like I mean, we all used to, we all get together. It's just we show each other support. Doesn't matter what. Like even if we're doing a show, and like I say, when John beat me at that New York Pro, we went out, we ate. I'm so happy for him. Instead of being sour, like, oh my God, you should, and it's the same way. He's always done that when, like, if I placed ahead of him, and stuff like that, Akeem, whatever the case is, it's just all but love. Victor Martinez, we're here to show each other love. And, we just know that, like we all great bodybuilders. It's just whoever nails it that day, and that's
what makes I think that's what makes the sport so wonderful. It's that old sense of camaraderie that I think that we talk about in the 70s and in the 80s that we kind of, some parts of the sport doesn't really have, except for groups. There's some groups that I think that are, and everybody, like, I'm sure like John and I are friends, John De La Rosa. I love John to death. I think he's awesome. Ever since I met him, he's just has really wonderful, warm energy, and that's the kind of people that I love to surround myself with, because that's the kind of person that I am, So, yes. So I really appreciate him for that, and being a good champion. And you the same way. I've always sensed good energy from you since I've known you. You're warm and friendly, a little shy sometimes, but that's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm very. I don't talk much, because, like I said, and it's not that I'm trying not to like say to myself whatever. I love people. I'm a people person. I just sometimes, a lot of people don't know, because obviously I don't post about it. I get nervous when I speak, especially when I don't know people. Like I'm very like, I just have like a little bit of anxiety, so I might like sometimes I might say things that I don't mean, and just I just sometimes my words don't get put across the right way. So, or just like I said, I don't feel like I'm the greatest speaker. So
I know that you're like your intentions are always good. That's why so I always base my interpretations of people on their intentions, because sometimes I twist my shit up too.
I guess for some reason, like I'm more conscious. Like I'm always thinking, like, oh, did I the other day we did a seminar, and the whole time through the seminar, I was bugging out. Like I'm like talking, and in my head I was, oh, did I say this? Did I say that? Like I felt myself sweating, and I'm thinking, and I really didn't talk as long as I thought I did. All these things were crossing my mind, and it was just like, oh my God, and it was just, it's just weird. I just get so, when I feel like I'm put in the spot, I get really nervous, and whatever. But it's the same thing like that year when I got my first year at the Olympia. Well, actually not my first year at the Olympia. My first year as a pro, I won Rookie of the Year. So I was in the table. It was me, John, Guy Sesterino, and it was just a whole bunch of us, like just sitting in that table. Marco Rivera, a lot of us, Victor, and we're there talking. And I remember Phil Heath gave an amazing speech, and I was like, oh, I don't even know how he did that. That's so amazing. It's like if I was to ever, I would just give them the mic. I'd say thank you so much. I just can't say nothing because I don't know what I was saying. And 2 seconds later, as soon as we hear my name, and I'm like, I get up and I'm like, hey, So Bob Chicarillo was like, no, you got to come up here. And I got up there. I don't know what I said. It was all over the place. And my table, they were just laughing at me. All laughing. And I'm like, oh, great. So it was like, that
the funny thing is that it's speeches like that are much more, to me, much more endearing and more sincere and honest, because it's like you're seeing the real person. Like, he's a person just like everybody else. Like, no, you can't expect everyone to be able to be these wonderful like speech givers and these wonderful people, because that's not natural for most people, right? Like, it took me a long time to get comfortable even in front of a camera or in front of a microphone. I was very shy as a kid. Because I was a twin. I'm an identical twin brother, and we grew up together, and I didn't need to have any best friends. You know,
of course, you had your best friend right there.
I had my best friend always.
In the back.
Exactly. Like, and everybody, as a matter of fact, I tell the story, like, everybody knew that when we were going to school, like in grade school, at junior high and high school, if you fight one of us, you fight both of us. There's no, like, I'm sorry. And people would say, oh, I'm not going to fight you because I'm going to fight your brother. I'd say, yep, that's right. Yeah, man. Like, we're in this together, man. Like, this is what it's about. So, but until I got out into college, and he went off to the military, he went in the Army to help pay for school, and I just went out and took loans. And I remember that was a tough year, man. That was a tough year, that first year in college. So, but it was, I forced myself to like get in front of people. I took a public speaking class. I was like, man, I'm going to conquer this shit. I'm like, I'm not going to be afraid of this. And it worked. It turns out that what I do is now is I focus on my message. I focus on who I am, and I don't worry about the opinions of others. It takes some practice, because it's about focus for me. But like, I appreciate people who are, that to me shows that kind of raw level of honesty. It shows authenticity to me, and I like that, because the person who gets up and seems to have all the right words, man, is like, man, you practice this shit. Like, it's like, now when you were growing up, did you play sports and stuff? Was it something that...
I played a lot of sports, yeah. Basketball, handball. I loved handball a lot.
So, like, is that with like a racket, or is that with your hand?
Your hands.
Oh, really? Because that's something that I didn't ever experience. Like, what's that like?
It's really fun. I mean, you can, once you get, I mean, at first your hands hurt, but once you get used to it, it's your hands don't hurt, and it's really, really fun. Your cardiovascular is that's why I was always ripped, because you go there as a kid, you go to the park and get there like at noon, and you leave the park like at 8 o'clock, and you play so many games, and you're just like, I mean, if you look up handball,
so there's tournaments. There's tournaments and stuff.
Yeah, I actually played in the park that I played in was a lot of tournament. I mean, was the one of the parks that had the best handball players in the world.
Oh, really?
So,
wow.
It just happened to be a coincidence, and
so
there's always tournaments there.
Is there like a league or something that they?
There is a handball association. Yeah, you can like Google all that stuff, and there's a handball association, and it was fun. I was so addicted to it, and it's like that's the most calories you can burn in any cardiovascular is handball. Obviously, you can't play that as a bodybuilder because dislocate your shoulders and
Can you still play now? Or are you too? Or is it,
play.
Oh,
no, I'm too big. Yeah. I tried. I was on vacation. It was 2011, and I wasn't near as big as I am now. And one of my cousins, hey, let's play handball. They had a beach in Miami. We went on vacation in Miami. I tried. I couldn't even hit the ball.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like you got to be all over the court, and it takes a lot of you got to be agile.
I've been used to play golf. I played since I was like 11. And when I got into college, I started getting bigger, and I went from like 175 pounds, and I'd already been bodybuilding for several years, to like over 200. And I remember I had to alter everything. I couldn't swing the club the same way. I had to do a partial swing because, man, like, when I got to, I think the heaviest I got was 272 when I was like about 25, 26. And I was, forget it. I'm not playing. There's no way I'm going to play. Like, I'm going to hurt myself. So it's kind of funny. There's pros and cons to getting big, right? Aside from the fact that I felt like I lived to eat. I'm not like you. I've seen some of your videos. I've seen some of the stuff. I've talked to Dave about when he was coaching you about how much food you could eat. Oh my gosh. If I had your appetite, I would have been much bigger. It's like, I just don't have
That's the funny thing. People think I have an appetite. I don't. I forced myself to eat that way just because I wanted to be big. So knowing that I had a fast metabolism, I was the one that kind of like, forced myself. I got to eat 12 times a day. I got to eat. Like, I used to hate eating. I still kind of. I'm not a big eater. Like, meaning, like, when I say I'm not a big eater, I'm okay with not eating like I never really have an appetite. I don't really get hungry. It's weird. Like I'm like, all right, it's time to eat. I gotta eat. It's not like I'm sitting at the clock like, some people do and looking forward to the next meal. I'm like, I'm okay.
I've seen some of these really large meals. So I was never able to put the volume of food at one time. How do you do that? How were you able to do that?
I just trained myself. It was more
you just ignore you just pile it in.
Yeah, just knowing that even I'm full, I would just eat, and it was just kind of training myself because, when I wanted to get big and when I was trying to grow in the beginning, and I was, a lot of people don't know, when I started in 2004, I was like 165 pounds. So when I stepped on stage in 2007, I was 192. So I had put on like around 30 pounds of solid muscle, and I was just forcing myself to eat. I was all I did was eat, train. Like that's every time you saw me, I was eating. And then then when I went and after 2007 and I decided I wanted to bodybuild and get big. I mean, I remember it just it just even got harder because at that point now I'm trying to get to like the bigger weights, and I'm like, I gotta get like I remember from 2007, my goal, whatever, I wanted to get at least a 250, and I remember being at 240 and just in my highest in that all season, just like all I did was eat McDonald's, and that was when me and Dave was working together, and I don't know if you ever heard of Victor Munoz. He used to train out of the gym. He's Victor's trainer, and he was there, and everybody was seeing like I'm just like
piling
walking bags of McDonald's and food.
I remember watching some videos
and just just people like, how do you stay in that condition? And I'm like I don't know. I eat, train, So and then I kind of trained myself. It was just force feed.
Well, what's the biggest meal you've eaten? What was the most you ate in one day or in one meal? I'm just curious because I thought I heard something like 7 or 10,000.
In one day wasn't even recorded because the thing was when I did my 20,000, I did a video of 20,000 calories. I wasn't even trying to put as much food away. I was just trying to do a normal day.
20,000? You ate 20,000 calories in a day?
Yeah, but I have a video of it, and I did that video, and it wasn't even nothing. Like that was like when I was getting ready for 2014 Olympia. So I was like 8 weeks out, and people I actually was in between moving. That's when I actually moved to Long Island. So people were like, "Oh, we want to see how you eat. You're always posting these things, whatever." And they kept asking us, "All right, you know what? I'll show you guys a video." But that wasn't even the most. I think the most I've done in a day must have been like it was probably double. That was like around 40,000.
Whoa.
And the thing, I don't know if you know Jillian Revel.
Yes, I do know her. Yes,
she used to hang out with me like all the time and on our cheat days, and she would see like her, Akeem, John, like, and they used to see like the amount of food I used to put away. Like it was just insane. Like I used to eat to the point that I would pass out. Like I would eat, and then I would like from like the high amount of sugars, I would just like pass out and just fall asleep.
Oh my God. Like, go to a coma.
Yeah. And pick up and eat again.
Did your stomach it would hurt? When did it hurt?
Yeah, I felt uncomfortable, but it really wasn't that bad. And it really started hitting me bad until like I would say around 2015, 2016 when I couldn't do that anymore. Now I couldn't do that if I can't for some reason. Like now I eat something once I'm full, I can't eat no more. Yeah. So I'm kind of glad that part is over in my life. 'Cause I had to like 2014, 2015. I had to eat like that, like on my refeed days, or else I would like just kept losing weight. That actually kept me like when I used to do that refeed of 20,000 calories. It actually just kept me like from losing too much, and it was weird. Like I had to eat like that every Sunday, and now like a Sunday could go by and I don't have to cheat. Like I'm okay. Like
I think I remember talking to Dave several years ago about because I think I saw a video and I'm like, man, how does he do that? He's like, man, I've never seen anything like it. He's like, the dude his body. He's got to have like 2 cheat meals. He's got to do this. It's like otherwise it just starts to flatten out. It's just to go away. So some people, you just must have just a very fast. I've often said because I've worked with lots of people over the years and the guys who are able to really put on size, really, there's a level of anybody can get big. But then there's this other level, right? And those guys, like yourself, like Jay Cutler, like you name it, all the really big guys, they're able to really put down this food. If you can't put the food down, then forget it. It's not going to happen, right? Like so if you're able to do it, you can do it. If you can't, you can't.
I tell people all the time because you're a coach, I'm a coach. and I got, I get my clients and they're like, oh, I give them the diet, like, oh man, but there's a lot of food, I can't eat. I was like, let me tell you something. If you want to grow, if you want to get big, you got to get it down. It's like, it is what it is. As hard as it is, I mean, it just, it sucks. And I wish I could tell you, there was an easier way, but you have to get it down. I was like, I remember being uncomfortable and just eating that much food and just, I'm like, all right, but the food's going to go down, I mean, the most I ate in one day when I was following an off-season diet, not counting my cheat days, was eating 12 meals a day. I remember it was eating 8 solid meals and 4 shakes. And it felt like I was eating like all day long because I was eating in between like every hour and a half. And they weren't small meals, I'll tell you this much. This is a funny story. Talking about eating, it just popped up in my head. The first time that I knew that I had the capacity of eating a lot was actually a friend of mine. He came into the gym and everybody would talk about how much I can eat. I'm like, whatever. Like, people just had these conversations. So he goes into the gym and he's like, you can't do, he just said, you can't do 7 Big Macs in one shot in less than 10 minutes. And I was like, I can do that. In my head, I was like, there's no way I cannot. I know I can. So we made a bet. I actually ate 7 Big Macs in less than 10 minutes. And like, I wish at that time we had like nobody really had like phones that record stuff or whatever. And then it wasn't a big bet, but it was at that time. It was like big money. It was like $30, and he had to pay for whatever. Well, I had to pay for. So at the end of the thing, I was like, when I ate everything, he was just like, "Thank you for lunch, money. I don't want your money. I'm just happy that I got that. I got that meal."
I know that feeling. Like, I think there's only a few people that I've known that could be able to do even something remotely close to that. So I don't know if it's a genetic thing. I don't know, whatever the case is. You're absolutely right, man. That the people that can put down the food, they're the ones that can they're the ones that's going to grow the most. I think the most I ever was able to eat, but I'm a lot smaller. I'm only, like I said, I'm 5'7". I'm not my structure not nearly as big as yours. But I think when I was my heaviest, I was eating about 7,000 calories a day. Now, for me, that was like a lot. When I tell my clients that, like, yeah, it was about 7,000 to 7,500 calories a day. That was the most I was ever able to do consistently day to day. And they're like, whoa. I'm like, man, there's people that can do a lot more than this. but that was the only way I was able to get to 270. Like, that was the biggest I ever. It was 272. But I remember that feeling like you're talking about. I look at your watch. Man, I got another meal. Fuck. It's like, but I didn't. I jug of water, get my food, just pound it down. It's like it reminds me of the hot dog eating contest at Coney Island when they show every year. Those guys got the water, and it just looks gross, but because I love hot dogs. But it's very similar. And most people just, and I know you probably know this as a coach. You work with people, and when you talk to them, what they want and what they're willing to do are not congruent. They're like, and how did you negotiate that in your life? Because for me, it was just, I think I thought about it similarly to you, and I was like, I want what I want. I'm just going to do it. I didn't think about it. Well, how did you do it?
Kind of the same way. I never gave myself options. I knew that what it took.
Good.
And like I said, that's how I came upon food with everything. I just knew what it took, and it was like, you know what? This is what I got to do. There is no, I'm the type of person. There's no. It's either I'm in or I'm out. So it's like, even when it comes to like, waking up to do cardio, it's like, I know if I set my alarm clock for 7 o'clock, if it goes off, I get up and I get it done. I don't get up and start thinking, well, maybe if I just sleep in a little later, maybe like it's just, there is no excuse. Like I work out at the same time every day. Everybody in the gym knows they're gonna see me there at 11 o'clock every day. I won't be late. I'm never late. It's like, and if I am late for some reason, because of the massive accident on the highway, they're like, "Oh my God, is everything okay? Like, you're late." I'm very, very meticulous with everything, so I write everything down. I'm just that kind of person. I like to know everything I do, when I do it, and I have records from every show I've done, what I ate. I write everything down. It's just,
I agree 100%. because you're in my mind, you exhibit the qualities of a champion in mindset when it comes to these kinds of things, as well as in your performance. and people are over the years. That's the kind of questions that's usually at the root of why people aren't accomplishing things. Is that, like you said, like I'm so glad you said that, like that you don't think about it. It's just like a given. This is what I do. I decided this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I do. And so even if I don't feel like it, that's immaterial compared to what I want and what I'm going to do. I try to explain this to people sometimes over the years that this is a mentality. It's very much like turning a switch on. You have to decide. And so it sounds like that's the kind of philosophy that you have. Do you try to translate that to some of your people and some of your clients?
Yes, I try. You know what? I actually came to the point this year that I can preach for so much, because sometimes I don't want to be that person like, because I guess there's even, sometimes like with closer clients that I feel like are family, sometimes like, well, you're giving yourself an option, like, don't do this, you got to do this like this. I was like, I had this going on. And then sometimes you sound like you're not trying to compare them to you, you have the high expectations, but sometimes people might see it like as you being too hard on them. So I'm like, well, I'm just, because I care, I'm trying to just,
exactly.
But you can't. I just noticed either you have it or you don't. It's not meant for everybody, because nobody told me that I had to do this like this. And I'm pretty sure you watch, like, all these other champions, all these top pros, they just have it, and the ones that don't, you could see it on stage. It reflects on how they look. Some of them, they might be have a good amount of muscle, but they don't come in good condition and stuff like that. You have to have that kind of like that warrior mentality, and it's like.
I agree. I think one of the things that I wanted to tell you that I don't think I've ever told you, and people have asked me, because I'll give my predictions, or people ask me, well, who do I like, and your name comes up often, especially when I know you're competing, and it comes up because and they go, oh, well, some people, if they disagree with my choices, and they ask me why certain bodybuilders, I have reasons why I like them, and the reasons why I often mention your name is because from year to year that I've watched you. You always make improvements, and you make significant improvements in size, and you're always in great shape. You always come in great conditioning, but it's the size. And the reason why that's important, because a lot of guys get bigger, a lot of guys get better, but because you're so tall and your structure, and it's hard to do that. And most people who don't know this sport, like, you don't know how difficult this actually is. Like, for a guy of this stature to come in that much more improved, like, some people say they're better, but they don't really look any better on stage. It's like,
I agree. I see that a lot. Yes.
But you actually do, and that's why I like it. And you're still getting better. Now, how old are you now? You're like
37. 37, like in 2 months. Well, yeah.
So you still got several more years to make really wonderful improvements. So, but it's hard when you get taller. Like, so I appreciate that. Like, same thing with like that. I was never a big Rolly Winkler fan. I didn't like his structure, wide waist, all these. But I've become a fan in the last couple of years because this dude's taken criticisms and he's made improvements on those criticisms, and they're significant.
Yes.
And that is not fucking easy in the sport at that level, at the level that you're at the level this is not easy. When you're just 1 or 2 years into it, you're gonna make lots of great improvements. That's easy.
Yeah.
So what's your mental approach has it changed over the years, like in terms of making improvements, or what approach do you take?
Honestly, I'm to the point right now where I don't really want to get any bigger.
Right.
Especially after this year, after this off season, I kind of want to go and approach after this competitive year. I kind of want to just, get better, but not necessarily get bigger. Just keep training, just keep that shape.
Refine
the physique. I actually, this year, I feel very confident. My legs were lagging in the past years, and they've never been small, but my upper body was just always so tremendous. I actually changed the way I trained them and found out it was more effective for me. And I feel like, I don't know if you've seen any of my before or after pictures that I posted, they actually look like within a year, like my quads just double. And it's not like they got crazy huge, but like the sweeps, the muscle.
What did you do different? What was the difference in your training?
Every year I was always stuck. I had to squat, I had to lift heavy. And I was always brought up that heavy training, and it came to, I ran into a few bodybuilders that were taller, and he's like, oh, like I have also knee issues. I have osteoarthritis. A lot of people don't know that because I don't complain. I just do. They see me lifting all this weight, like, how do you do that? I'm like, well, I just suck it up. It hurts, but I suck it up. So I used to squat a lot. Everything was really, really heavy. So it was like I never really got crazy pumps. It was just like my legs were sore from the heavy lifting. But, you know, you look at somebody like Jay Cutler, Phil Heath, you know, like, yeah, you lift heavy enough to stimulate, but volume and reps. You know, Chris Cormier was always in my corner. He would text me, do reps, 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 reps. I'm telling you, stop lifting that heavy weight. So
I preach this, man. People don't believe me. I preach the same thing, man. Like volume training, man. You want to save your body? You want to make better gains? Bigger muscles do more work. It's plain and simple.
So I started doing volume. I started doing like now like this big thing that I do. I do like, even if I might be using heavy weight, but it's heavy moderate. Like I'm getting a good amount of reps, like 20 reps on the leg press. So I'll do like a leg extension as a pre-exhaust, and I'll do like an ascending set. I'll do like 20, 20, and 20. So just, you know, and just squeeze. So by the time, like when I get off, it's on fire, and then I go straight to the leg press, and then just bang out another 20 reps. And the pump, like even after the first set, it's like, whoa. But I'm also forcing myself to use a heavy enough weight. Like, you know, some people look at the weight and it's probably stuff that
they're never gonna do.
I'm doing good 20 reps after a pre-exhaust. So
well, heavy is relative to the person. So like,
exactly. So the whole thing is I don't want to go extremely light just because I'm doing volume. To me, it's like you gotta, like, my method and my style of training that I kind of put together with I superset everything is kind of, you have to keep stimulating the muscle with heavy enough weight. Obviously, you probably won't be able to lift as heavy, but you got to find something that is heavy. You got to work for it. Just because you just did a superset and you're tired doesn't mean like, let me just go there and just do whatever and just, no, you got to work for it. So
so that's is that the main difference in your training? Like your training before was just, let's do heavier weight, maybe a little bit lower reps, heavier weight, but now it's more, you're doing, still training as heavy as you can, but you're doing a lot more volume and you're supersetting, sounds like.
Well, the funny thing was, and this is a funny story, I've been training my body the same way I'm just training my legs, and everything just always been round with my upper body and stuff. And I kind of felt maybe with legs it's too much because, you know, like since it's a weaker spot, maybe like if I keep doing it, it's just going to, you know, take out too much glycogen or whatever, and then I'm just going to deplete my legs and they're just going to look terrible. So that was my thought. So everything else I trained that way, and legs I just trained them heavy and not supersets. And that is the only thing I changed, was just my leg training. Everything else stood the same. I was like, I'm going to start doing what I do with my legs, with my upper body to my legs. It's like, I don't care. I'm just going to do it because it's been working.
I think that a lot of times people, our industry, we get sort of been brainwashed into certain modes, like of training, like heavyweight. Like this is like in the magazines for years before we had the internet. Well, that's what they preached, right? Like that was what we preached. And of course, with guys like Mike Minzer and who was really like heavy duty training. Yeah, and of course Dorian sort of duplicated that as well a lot in his training. And not to say that these things don't have good function, don't work. I've always said there's really some severe limits to them. Like you can't train like we're bodybuilders today are in the sport much longer. Yeah. You know, and we're bigger and it's much longer and you can't torture your body like this. So, and you you said you have a little bit of arthritis in your knees, but you seem to have stayed away from injury for the most part, right?
I mean, I think it's just genetics because of the way I've also trained. It's just, I mean, get a little nagging stuff here and there, but like for the most part, knock on wood, I've been able to stay away, and I've trained like an animal these past few years. But what have taken a toll on me is mostly a lot of my lower back. It's always like I'm always feeling uncomfortable. It always gets tight, and every now and then, like, you know, it just easily gets out of place. So because of the heavy lifting, my lower back has taken a toll. So that, you know, I'm like, all right, you know, now the next few years, like, you know what, I gotta just be smarter and, you know, not go too crazy because I get caught up and I get strong. And then sometimes when you get so strong, you get caught on like, damn, this doesn't feel heavy. Let me just, you know, lift this weight. And, you know, like, you know, body pays for it after a while, you know? So.
Absolutely. But one of the things that I changed when I was about, I was probably in my late 30s, was the style. I just knew, like, man, I don't want to be like Dave. I don't want to have shoulder replacements and fucking people replacing hips and stuff like that. And I didn't want that. I want to be able to see my kids, my grandkids run with them, stuff like that, you know? So I changed my training as well to be more therapeutic. What kinds of recovery therapeutic modalities do you do? Like, you probably see a chiropractor. I think I've seen some stuff where you do like cupping.
Guy that comes, I don't do cupping. I have a physical therapist. He comes and he does physical therapy. He does deep tissue at the same time. So depending on what I need, and I have him come weekly. I don't see a chiropractor, but if I do, like if I need adjustments, I'll get it done. But just pretty much do physical therapy. I kind of do a lot of icing on myself. Like whenever I finish training, if something is sore, I put some ice. I do that stuff. But
is stretching? Do you do a lot of stretching?
I got to get into that. That's one thing I don't do.
I found that, God, I hardly needed anything when I was, 20s and 30s. And man, like once you hit 40, bro, I'm going to tell you, man, your body, while I could still train good, I just, it's like it requires more. It's like more maintenance, man. It's like a car, like I got to change the oil. But
I stretch now. I need it now. The stretching. I just,
It gets worse, man. As you get for whatever reason, man, it just gets worse as you get older. Where you can start to see it. Like I can start to see where my muscles are actually tight, especially my glutes and my piriformis. I can actually see it in my physique when I look at my body. I'll still pose a little bit. I'm like, oh, that doesn't look right. It's like so I'm using like a massager every day, and like I go and I used to have this thing when I was younger where I didn't like to have masseuses touch me. It's like I don't know, man. I don't know where these people have been. Unless it's my girl or something, I'm okay with that. But for some reason, I just had this weird thing. But I got over it because it's so therapeutically good for you, So, what's your philosophy moving forward? Like, how do you see your career? Like, how many more years do you want to compete? Do you know? Have you thought about that?
Think about it all the time. I don't know. I love the sport. I love bodybuilding. Love competing. I would love to do it as much as I can. But the whole thing is, it all depends. Like I feel that as long as I'm doing well, I'll keep competing. If I stop doing well, then you know what? I'm just gonna, I'm always gonna be around the sports. I love bodybuilding. I'm always gonna be going to shows, being part of it. It would just be the minute when I stop doing well, then I'm just gonna, just watch everybody else who's coming up and enjoy it from the outside in. But hopefully I feel like I'm just getting better now because. I started bodybuilding in 2007 at 25 years old. That was a late start. And I feel that most people that I compete against, they've been doing this so much longer. So for me that I started at such a late start, I feel like even now, like my body is just starting to get better, now. And I feel like, all right, cool. Like, just even the change I did with my quads and just since the Olympia, which that I was like, oh my God, like, wow, like it just.
So that was a recent change.
Yeah. So
wow, okay. I can't wait to see you on stage then.
I'm actually excited. I'm like, all right, I'm excited. I'm like, I hope they don't go anywhere. So I'm like, I've been posting before and afters, like last year, a couple of weeks after Olympia now, blah, blah, blah. So I went like, listen, I made the changes. So hopefully they stay.
They will. They'll get better.
So it's like, yeah.
So do you, so when you think about it, like you'll just compete as long as you can, it sounds like, which is good, I think.
Hopefully I got Dexter's genetics. I can still do it. Victor, 44, and he's still doing it, and he looks good.
Okay, so you're so now what's the next show for you?
Arnold Brazil it's from this Saturday coming is in 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then hopefully the Olympia, of course.
Well, I still want to do the New York.
Oh, you do? Okay, good.
The New York Pros hometown is just.
Of course.
I like having my family and my friends come out and watch me compete. So it's, I would do that, and then depending what happens, go to New York and hopefully go to Olympia, God willing.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because when I first started bodybuilding, it was with the sole intention to compete. I wanted to be bigger, but man, that was I wanted to compete. So sounds like that's kind of sounds like it's your story, or did you? Because you sound like you worked out first and then got really started to apply it towards bodybuilding because you got on stage. But how did that work for you?
Yeah, once I got bit by the bug, I just wanted to make improvements and just get on stage and compete. But I wanted to get on stage and show the improvements. So from 2007 to 2008 was huge improvements, and then after that it was like I wasn't like the people that have the mentality now that they do 1 or 2 shows and then they're ready for nationals and want to get a pro card. I didn't compete on a pro qualifier to 2010. And, like people kept telling me, dude, you're ready. I'm like, I'm not ready yet. And,
so is that the advice you give your people, your clients? How do you approach that with them? Like,
I tell them, take your time, build your muscle. Once you're ready, I feel like as a novice, compete once a year, because I feel that we need that. We need to die at least once a year. I feel that.
I like that.
I think that once a year gives you that. After that you grow the most. After when you rebound. So I always feel like it's just, especially I always notice that with myself. It's like that's the best time to grow is right after the show. Especially most people, that's when they can eat the most.
Funny,
so it's like
it's funny you say that because for the first probably I got stepped on stage the first time in '89. I was 19, and then and I'd been bodybuilding for only 4 years. And so 19, I had to see if I could do it. Like, could I get on stage in a pair of Speedos, right? Like, could I do this in front of all these people? And like, am I going to like it? I found out I loved it. But from 19 till probably my mid-20s, I only competed once a year. I might have done 2 shows, but they were always back-to-back.
Exactly.
Only one diet. Only
Yes.
one prep. And then because I felt the same way you did. Intuitively, I felt like I need my off-season. I need to grow. I need to go. This is just showing me what I need to do. It's not like I wasn't trying to be a pro. Like right, I knew it was like, man, when I'm going to be ready to be a pro, I'll know. My life will tell me. Later, when I was over 35, when I'd already been competing for a long time, and I've done 57 shows personally in my lifetime. So, and that was already after probably 20 shows. Was I even thinking about going to a national event? So to speak, and thinking about a pro card. So I was like, and I was doing more than I would have. I did 5 shows. I think one year I did, and it was like that's I would never recommend that to somebody, but I can't continually hear it from guys like, oh, and I get it. They want to be, so you battle that. It's easier if they're bikini competitors sometimes because you don't have to build.
Yeah, exactly.
But bodybuilders, I get it, man. Like So I'm glad to hear that you say that because I had always felt that way too, and I still feel that way. And there were years when I wanted to take the whole damn year. But you've always made really great improvements. Do you think will you attribute that to the improvements that you make, giving yourself a significant off season?
Yeah, giving myself time, eating, training, being consistent. It's like it's just never letting foot of the gas. That's just who I am. I'm always, I'm the kind of person. Like I said, a little crazy. Maybe I push too hard sometimes, but I'm the kind of person that's been known that after a show I competed and I'm back in the gym the next day and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I just want to train. I got to grow. I'm getting ready for the next year." And most people like to take a week or 2 off. But if you even listen to Dorian didn't take time off. He was right back in the gym, and it's just you got to take advantage of that. Everybody has different methods, and I respect. Some people want to take time off, but I feel that's just who I am. I like to train, and I'm back in there, and my mind gets, like I got to get better. I got to get better. So that's just how my mind works, and
I think also like, I was like that too. I would give myself maybe 1 or 2 days, but I was itching so bad after I'm like, man, I got to get back in there, man. So like, I was just go right back to the gym. But some people need a little bit, I think, because I know guys that take like a month off.
Yeah, I think that's too much.
I was like, and they'll swear that like I used to work with Lionel Brown, and great guy, I love him to death, but he would take 1-2 months off after he would get done with his competitive season, and then he would come back fat, and I'm like, dude, but he swore it was a key to him growing so big, for him having some success that way. And I was like, okay, well, if that's what you feel, that's okay. You got to do what you got to do. But like you said, we're all different. We all have our own ideas, and that's fine. So now outside of bodybuilding, what's the most exciting stuff that's in your life right now that's outside of bodybuilding necessarily?
Right now is my little girl. I mean, honestly, right after the Olympia, we planned a trip to Disney World for for a whole week, 5 days, but for me that's a week, and it hurt. But I had a blast, and I'm looking forward to going again next year. I think next year I talked to Flex and Sean Roden, so we might plan to go together, and. But that's that's it right there. Like I live for her, so it's it's fun, and my wife, my daughter, like they just make me happy, and it's I trust them, and I don't know, it's like I can count on my wife. I can count. Obviously she's 3, but like I can like I don't know, like I can count on her.
I can tell you, like, my daughter's 9, she'll turn 10 this summer, and I'll tell you, brother, man, like, it gets better. Like, it's even better, especially now that you, like you said, you were kind of young when you had your first child, but now that you're more mature, you understand how to develop that relationship, because that's what I was so thankful for. I remember my brother telling me, "Oh man, he's like, you should have had your kids when we did, like when we were younger, so that way when you're older you'd be able to travel." I said, "Man, and party and all this stuff." I said, "Dude, I already did that. I did that already, man. Now's the time. Now I know what I wanted to do. I know how to develop this relationship. I know how to appreciate, my daughter, and give her at least have her something sensible to tell her. Like, but if I had had my children in my 20s, I don't know if I would have had much good. I would have been absentee. I would have been too focused on my career, too focused on all this other stuff. I know that. So now I'm not.
Mindset is different because I tell you, I mean, it's just a different mindset. You're a little more selfish when you're younger, and it's a lot more about you. And you, especially when you're bodybuilding, you think about it so much. You just want to be the best, and it's kind of But when you get older, it's like it's not about you anymore, and it's not all about you. And as much as you put into the bodybuilding or whatever your job is, you always like it's about about them. You think about your health, you think about a lot of things, and it's like things become a lot more different, and you're like oh wow, like I want to be around in the next 20, 30 years, like it's like I want to see her grow, I want to see her go to college, I want to experience all these things, so it's like mindset changes,
And
so
I think that's a good thing, because I have gotten such wonderful things out of every part of my life. And you're right. You do realize it's not all about me. It's like, but more importantly, I don't know if this is the case for you, but I get such wonderful catharsis. I live so wonderfully through my daughter in some ways. When I see her feeling, hey, did you have a good bath? All right, that's awesome.
Super fast.
Super fast? That's good. Sometimes that's good, right? Sometimes it's good to take a slow bath. Sometimes it's good to take a fast one, right? but I get to live out. I get to live so wonderfully through my daughter. And that's the best part of kids right there. It really is. Hey, your dad was telling me about your guys' Disney World trip. Did you enjoy that trip?
Go back the other day. You want to go back?
Yeah.
What was your favorite part? Do you remember?
Minnie.
Did you see Mickey Mouse or anything?
Minnie was the favorite part. Minnie.
My daughter likes. My daughter likes Eeyore. She liked Eeyore when we went to Disneyland. I love Disneyland. Have you ever been to Disneyland?
Yeah.
No.
It's really similar to Disney World, but Disney World's bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Disney World.
Pretty fun stuff. And when you go back again, you have to do more stuff.
Daddy's talking on his computer.
Let Daddy finish up, okay? Because.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. I took my daughter to Disneyland, and that was her favorite, was seeing Eeyore, because I got her a little Eeyore doll, and she would sleep with it every night. And then, man, I had such a fun time. Oh man, I want to take my daughter she's going to be 10 this summer. I want to take her to Disney World as well. I've never been there.
Just get prepared to do a lot of walking. It's fun, but make sure you're.
And I heard it's hot.
I made sure that we planned it like close to after the Olympic, because I knew I was going to be light, and I wasn't going to be too heavy. Because once I'm heavy, I know I wasn't going to be able to walk anywhere. But we had to take a lot of rest, a lot of time to sit down, and I'm like, all right, hold on, give me a little bit. I got to recuperate.
You got to get one of those little Segways. So you can just cruise around. I
would look at the little stroller she has. Like, I wish I could fit this. That looked kind of cool.
Did you go to college or anything, or study anything in particular?
I did not go to college. I went to art and design high school. I didn't graduate. I got a GED, and then after that, like I just kind of got into the fitness thing. Like I said, and stuff like that. And
well, these days, I hear this. So this is my opinion about college. I went to college. I went to graduate school, but these days, like if my daughter, like I would love it if she went to college, but I don't think it's worth it. I really don't think it's too expensive for what you get. And I think unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or somebody with a highly technical skill where you have to actually know this, but I came out with a degree in philosophy and I went to seminary. It's like these are all humanities. These are all, I don't have a job in that. Like, so I think that with the internet and with the opportunities today, I think, man, you can create your own world. You can create your own career doing so much other stuff. What matters most is if you're excited about it. And when you're excited about something, then you create success, just like what you've done. I think, would you agree?
I totally agree. I mean, totally agree. I love, like I said, I love what I do. I'm a coach, I'm a bodybuilder, I got my sponsors. But I mean, even with my clients, I mean, I just love what I do. And I'm very well known in the New York area. People like, wow, he's so responsive. He's always like, I care. I know what I want as a bodybuilder. If I have a coach, I know kind of the way I want to be treated, So
what is your philosophy in terms of coaching? Like tell me what, talk to me a little bit about like your approach when you're not necessarily the technical side, but like when you, like you're saying, like this, because you're like me, like I actually do give a shit. I care deeply about my clients because it's what I want. Yeah, but what's your philosophy?
I feel like, like even, a lot of my clients that, especially like in New York, they compete in New York. I feel like they represent me. So I'm also very like, I don't let anybody get on stage if you shouldn't be getting on stage. Well, we might need another 4 more weeks. We're going to push that show back and, we're going to get in better shape and we're going to do that. I believe in looking right for the show. I don't feel like just, like I see a lot of people put their clients up on stage and they don't know where to be ready. I'm like, you can't do that. I mean, I feel that, be honest to your clients, tell them the truth. And obviously there's other shows. There's a lot of shows, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm a little old school.
I agree 100%. It's what I think what you're describing is you put yourself in their shoes, and nobody wants to get on stage. I think that's one of the biggest things I hear from new people. They're like, hey, I don't want you to put me on stage if I'm not ready. Like, why would you ever have to tell a coach that? That should be a given. Like to me, that should be a given. Like but I think so many times now we have a lot of coaches out there because people do 1 or 2 shows and then they want to be a coach. I get it. They love the sport, and but
they don't have the experience. I feel you need to have the experience. It's like It's not something that you learn from one diet, one show. I mean, everybody's body's different. But it's just you need that experience. It's like I was fortunate enough getting into the sport that I was around a lot of competitors, and we were all doing different things. We all had different coaches, and I was able to see all that stuff. I traveled the world with the best bodybuilders in the world, got to see what they were doing. And, like we all do different things, we all carb up different, we all have different diets. Some diet in low carbs, some high carbs. Everybody's different. And there's not one right or wrong. And I believe in different approaches. Like when I'm getting my clients ready, I might have a client that might be having a ton of carbs. I might have a client that's just doing keto. I might have a client that's just doing protein and veggies, So everybody's different depending on how their body looks. There's not one diet that works for everybody.
Exactly.
So it's like,
well, unless you talk to Dave. I'm just kidding.
I think Dave is versatile. He gets people think he only does keto, but when we worked together, he didn't do keto with me.
No, he was honest about that. I'm just giving him a hard time, but no, he was like he has, but he does tend to like it.
Yeah. It's his niche. It's his niche. Like everybody has like their little niche and stuff like that, like whatever. I don't think I have one. I mean, I don't know because like I said, like everybody. For me, but that was his way to I guess I do keto, and he does start everybody with keto because he started with me, and then he realized that
it's not gonna work.
Like I just got shredded too fast, and I would get too flat, and then I had to go too crazy on the refeeds. Like, so it was like, all right, we need to take a different approach. But at least he was recognizing. He's like, oh, we can't do that. He saw it was going on.
I couldn't imagine putting you on a keto diet, man. He's like, not for very long, at least.
But I think I can probably get away with it now, to be honest. Now that I've gotten older, and I told you, like my body's it's not responding the way it did. Like not saying in a negative way, I think in a good way, because now it has allowed me to put on more muscle. I think that if I were to do a keto diet, as long as the fats are pretty high, I think that I will be okay. Like I just feel like my body doesn't need as much food as it did back in the day.
Funny you say that because I feel the same way. Once I hit about 45, like I'm 48 now, and I like 44, 40, 45 or so. I had to eat so much more before. Now I can get away with so much less, and I don't know if it's a slowing down or if it's just I don't have the same activity level in the gym. I'm not spending 2.5 hours in the gym anymore. It's more like an hour and 15 minutes. That's what I feel good with. But I'm also not trying to be on stage anymore. So my activity level changed, but my age also. You know, it's like I hate to say it because I don't like saying. Man, one of the things that is surreal for me when I go to shows now, I'll have somebody come up to me and they'll go, "Oh man, you're Tadayoshi. I've been following you since I was a kid." I'm like, "Fuck, what?" I'm like, "What are you telling me? I'm old?" Well, I mean, I'm very thankful that I've been able to be around that long, but I'm also like, it does feel a little weird. But also, people start to know me now less as a competitor and more as like a judge and a coach. And have you considered like judging or anything like that?
I've been judging the New York shows since 2013. I do mostly like the Easterns, the Mets, Atlantic States. I judge a lot of shows. I judge a lot of shows in the New York area. Like, I love it. Like I said, I'm in this for the long run. So when I retire, I'm gonna be around and giving my I'll probably even start training once I retire and kind of just keep passing my knowledge and just being there.
That's good. I think it's important. One of the things that has given me a lot of fulfillment, especially this part of my life, is contributing back to the sport in that way, in judging. And I mean, I get to judge pro shows and contribute to this history of the sport. And I'm very proud of that, like, because I remember growing up and looking at the magazines and like, wow, like look at all the pros and look at all the results. And then that's history, right? Like that's history, and to me, and I love this sport. I really do. I'm a fan too, just as much as anything else. So, and even the guys today who they don't understand, some of the new guys, I'm a fan. I'm still a fan. Still a fan.
I'm friends with all these guys, and even when I like CJ Color, I'm like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, like a fanboy, and you'd be surprised that all these guys, like, Dexter, me and Dexter have, become really close friends ever since we did the tour in 2014. And even when I see him, it's just like, it's like, I'm a fan of, I'm still a fan of everybody, like I'm very, I love bodybuilding, and I look at all these up and comers, like go on Instagram. I love giving people like, props and how, when they look good and
absolutely.
Or they work hard, you do a hard set, I'm like, I'm not one of those people that feels like, well, I can't say he looks, like I don't care, I'm like, I love giving compliments. It's just who I am. Like I'm as much as I'm a competitor, I'm a huge fan of just everybody, So.
I think that's important because I think that level of appreciation comes from the joy of the sport that you have, and that's really, really kind of important. It shows the kind of character that you have, and you can't. I guess I'm a person that sounds like you're that same kind of person that like I just can't give my energy to stuff that doesn't feel very good, like hating on people or that kind of stuff. I want to recognize all the great qualities because we all have wonderful qualities. They're just not always the same. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay. And I don't judge it any one is better than the other. But I do appreciate a really awesome physique. So whenever I see when on stage, man or woman, I'm like, wow, that's cool. As a matter of fact, one of the things, and I'm interested in your perspective, but I never have been attracted to the women in my life. Have always been outside the sport because I didn't really, like, I love looking at a great physique, a woman's physique who's in great shape and she looks great, but it's not something that I really am attracted to personally, like, as a mate. Like what, and people are always surprised. Well, what is that? How about you? My
wife actually competed. That's how I met her.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah,
at the Easterns, 2000, the Brooklyn show. I mean, 2010. What was it? 2011, babe? Or was it 2010? 2011. Yeah, that's when we started dating, and we met, and then a month later we started dating. But she was competing, and actually she hasn't competed since then. She kind of like ever since once she like when we started dating, she kind of just, I guess, I don't know if it's because I was competing at a higher level, and she was just giving all her focus to helping me and, get to, where I'm at now. But she's so supportive with everything. I mean, even with my clients, like when we coach clients together, like when I have a lot of the New York clients, I meet them in person and stuff like that. They come meet us, and especially the women. Like she's very hands on with the women, and she just she's awesome. Like everybody loves her, and she helps me out with everything. So she's awesome.
That's good. Man. I tried that with my last wife because she was a competitor, Bernadette, and she was a wonderful competitor, but she didn't like working with me. I understand. She had her own thing. She's a nurse practitioner now, and she's doing great with that. But it just wasn't. I guess I was a little anal retentive.
But I take care of the diets. I do the diets. I answer all the emails. That's my aspect, But she also helps me, like, when they come. Like I said, sometimes I'm not the best, so she's really good with expressing words and whatever. So, and she's very good. Like she talks and like, especially with the girls, she gives that female support, that I probably know that I can't give, So it's like
one of the good qualities that any coach or any person can have is knowing your limitations, and that's good that you recognize, because you can't move forward in a positive way without understanding where your strengths are and where your limitations are, and they don't have to be weaknesses. Knowing where you are is a dominant strength for a person. The people that don't know where they are, who can't identify their own weaknesses, they get held back the most. But the ones who can at least, so that was something that I always had to recognize, because I always want to be better, always in all aspects of my life. And so the only way I need to do that, like I made 3 promises to myself. And I'm curious to know if you've done something similar to this. When I was had like a pre-midlife crisis when I was like 31, and I changed my career direction, I changed my focus in my business a bit. And one of the promises I made is the first promise I always advise everybody is be honest with yourself. Now people say they are, but they're full of shit. Usually they're not usually completely honest. They are honest from the standpoint that but their intentions. I want to be the best, but are you the best? Are you, like, where are you at? Like, so I promised myself I'd always be honest with myself. And when I did that, I got a divorce because I had said, look, I'm not in love with this person the way I need to be. I'm not a good husband the way I should be, and that's not right for her. That's not right. I recognized that, and so I made that transition in my life, and I did it out of love. And it turns out I'm still very much good friends with her and stuff like that. But do you have some kind of principle that guides you in your coaching in your life?
In my life, I have a few principles. Like you said, I like to be honest with myself, and how can I say? I treat people the way I want to be treated. I respect everybody. I show people respect. Obviously, if somebody's an asshole, then I'll probably be an asshole back. But for the most part, I mean, I love people, and I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I don't care what anybody has to say about somebody. If they being good to me, then I'm gonna judge you by how you treat me. I believe in loyalty. Loyalty is like big for me. Like I'm kind
of a New York thing, probably, huh?
Probably. I don't know. I'm so big with that. Like
that's okay. That's good.
If I'm loyal to you, my friend, I'm loyal to you. But if I'm also like, if you're not loyal to me, then guess what? I mean, if I consider you somebody who I'm, if you're not loyal to me, you're not showing me, then it's just that's it. It's like I'm not gonna be sticking my neck out to go all out for somebody who's not gonna show that same thing back. It's like. Loyalty is big.
I see it closely married to family. Like for me, it's a concept that's close. Like when I say someone's my family or something, I mean, we get to choose our family. I firmly believe this. We don't choose our parents, but every other part of our family, our wives, our friendships, we choose those things. So if I'm choosing, so for me, they're very much tied. It's kind of funny because I've judged all my relationships in the past on the relationship I have with my brother. Because no matter what, no matter if we're getting in an argument, he always knows, and I always know. You call me, I'm there. It's all there is to it. There's nothing. There's no questions. Whatever disagreement we had, that shit stays at the door, and we figure out what's going on next. You know what I'm saying? And I do that, and I've always looked for that in my relationships, and so I offer that to my relationships. And it sounds like it's something similar with you. I really, really believe in that because, like I said, these are things that we choose, and if I expect others, like you, if I expect others to treat me well, I have to offer that first.
Yes.
And I don't. I think some people kind of expect people they want you to give them respect before they'll give it to you, and like, it doesn't really work that way.
But nowadays, people, I think they have everything twisted. I mean, people, I don't know. I see the way some people, they feel like things have to be given and they don't want to work hard, or, you got to work hard for everything, and, you shouldn't expect anything. But I mean, I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, at least the good stuff. Like, if you want really great stuff, you're gonna have to work. I mean, like, it's kind of natural to think like the good stuff, the stuff that everybody wants. There's a reason why everybody wants it, because nobody has it, and so
it's even with giving the pro cards now. Just because there's so many given out now, like everybody wants to be a pro, but nobody really wants to work hard to get it. They do their first show and they're like, they talk about pro cards. I'm like, it takes time. Like, some people might get lucky or they have just really good genes that it can turn pro quicker, but you gotta work. You gotta, put that time in the gym, gotta put that time with eating your meals, and it takes time. It's not gonna happen overnight.
Absolutely, 100%. Pro cards were not even in my mindset. I just knew it was kind of years down the road. So I focused on where I'm at right now. Like, where am I right now? I remember one time I was 40. I think I turned 40. I did the Masters Nationals. I looked really good. A lot of people expected me to, and I ended up getting third in the heavies. And I remember I got back to my office in California, and I had a couple clients go, "Oh man, are you upset?" I'm like, "No, man. I'm fucking happy, man. Like, I got third. Like, I granted I wanted to win, but like, I got third. I'm like in the heavyweight class. I was the third best in the country, man. Like that's the way I looked at it. Like, I'm better than I was last year. Like, what does that not resonate with you? I'm like, well, he got it, but it was just kind of funny. That's the first thing that they think of because, and I just don't think like that. So, so what's the next big, so like when you're like, have you looked beyond like bodybuilding and said, what's the next big hill after that? Because everybody, I always look at stuff like that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm always going to, I'll probably focus more. Once I'm done bodybuilding, I actually just kind of want to start a business. Maybe what I've been thinking a lot about once I retire, I don't want to do that now. It's kind of start my own supplement company and give 100%, and so I think that, and just kind of like, focus on that, and I want to have something to fall back on and own. So kind of probably do that and stuff like that. So.
I think it's the natural kind of progression, especially when you're so involved with, and it's natural too. And, one thing that's always surprised me is certain athletes get a lot of attention. Certain athletes get for whatever reasons, they resonate with their fan base. And so their fan base grows pretty fast. That seemed to be part of your story. Did that surprise you?
Which part, like that?
That so many people would, because it seemed like to me that when I remember back, like for me at least, because I didn't know you before when you were an amateur, you kind of came up really fast and then got very popular with people very quickly. So did that surprise you? The level of popularity, did that surprise you that you resonate with people?
Yeah, especially this Olympia. Yeah, it did surprise me. Like I said, I'm not like. To me, I always consider I'm just a regular person, whatever. But, like, it is sometimes I guess like it is, especially like if you're doing stuff and people are like, hey, like that's Juan Morel. I'm like, hey, how you doing? You want to take a picture? And so it's like it is. And this Olympia, like when I went to work the Weeder booth, it was like the crowd that I had was insane. They actually asked me to stay for an extra hour because I was so on demand.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
I was like, wow. I didn't even place in the top 5. I didn't even place in the top 10. I was like, how I got this whole crazy crowd? So it was like, I was just pretty amazed. And it was, really, really, it's really cool. I mean, to me, I guess it's because I take my time and I talk to everybody, especially when they come see me. I don't rush anybody, however long it takes. I mean, I know that I got people waiting, but I'm not going to leave until I'm done with everybody, So, I just, I'm a fan and I know how I want to be treated. So I'll sit there and I'll wait and if somebody talks, I talk and, I'm not faking. I'm getting into the conversation and I talk to them and it is what it is.
Do you have any like funny or unusual fan stories? I've heard some crazy ones. I think, who was it that was telling me that they had a? Oh, I think it was. It was Brandon Curry. I interviewed him, and we were talking. I love Brandon. He's a cool dude. I really like him a lot. And he said that he said he was at the Olympia a couple years ago and had a booth there. They had a booth at the supplement. I think it was the supplement company he's with, and some guy was like wanted to take a picture or wanted to take his bicep. He said, "Hey man, can you do my?" He said, "Sure, man." So he went up and did his bicep shot, and he said the dude fucking passed out. He went to take a picture and just got fucking passed. I guess he got so excited. I was like, man, he's like, what happened to the guy, man? What happened? Did he die? But do you have any funny or unusual stories?
I don't think so. I mean, now that I can think of, there's another thing about me is I have a really bad memory. So I forget a lot. I forget a lot of stuff. So I really, like, you know, I went to, when I was in that tour in 2014 with, you know, when after the Olympia, and we did like 5 shows. I remember, I think it's not even nothing crazy, but I remember somebody wanted to buy my Powerhouse Bev Francis sweater off of me, and I actually sold it. They're like, hey,
sure,
you know, I was wearing it, and they're like, are you selling that? I was like, I'm not selling that. And I actually didn't want to sell it to the person. I was like, nah, I'm not.
No, I kind of like this shirt.
And they're like, come on, please, you can always get it. And I was like, it's like, all right. And I ended up selling it to them.
That's because you're a nice guy.
You know, I really didn't want to, because it was like, you know, like that sweater had a lot of meaning to me, because I competed. Like, it was actually a sweater that I wore to every show, like as my, you know, like it was just like kind of like my suit, my track suit, but it wasn't. It was just like, you know,
that dude's got a piece of memorabilia there now, man.
I end up, you know, selling it. So
that's okay. That's good. You're a good guy. I would never have been so brave to ask. That's just like, I would like to take the clothes off your back. So the next show for you, as you said, the Brazil. Now, why did you choose that show?
I love the Brazil show. I've done it 4 times, I believe, and I've got 3 second place and 1 third.
So it's first
and
this time.
I need to get that win. You know, it's like.
Is that what drives you? Is that what drives you the most when you train these days? Like, okay, I want to get this win. I'm going to get this win.
I love to win. Everybody loves to win, you know. I mean, we can't always win, and I know that. But, you know, I you know, it's a good feeling, especially it's a good, you know, I'm old school with the Olympia too. Like I won't go on points. I will only go if I qualify through a win, you know. So it's like, just because I competed at 5 shows, if I get on points, I'm not going to go. So it's like, I don't know. It's just, plus one of my biggest dreams have always, since I started bodybuilding, was to have that speech with Arnold. And I've been so close at it 3 times.
So have you been preparing your speech?
No, I'm prepared because I want to just wing it, but because I feel like if I do prepare, I'm gonna mess it up. I just kind of like, I've been like, I want that, and it's like, you know, I'm like, all right, maybe this is the year, you know, because I had a few close ones, you know. I mean, even the last time I was there was like probably just so close. Everybody, I thought I had it, and even the promoters, when I got off stage and prejudging, they're like shaking my hand, "You're gonna win, and you got it."
You can taste it.
You know, so, you know, like, and then I didn't get it, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was so shocked, but it was okay. I mean, you know, it happens. And
how do you deal with like a disappointment? Because one of the hardest things about being a coach is working with disappointment with athletes, because some people get really crushed, okay, and other people are really great. They take it as a learning experience. But how do you personally?
I can get crushed, but I take that. I mean, I get crushed and I feel down, but I also take that and I use it in the gym. So it's like, you know, it might hurt me. I might be like, damn, you know, I'll feel more of like disappointed, like, you know, oh, I don't know. I'll get down on myself and like whatever. But then I do go to the gym and I train hard. So I kind of put that energy and I push and I push. And then I just kind of tell myself, like, this is not going to happen to me again. This is not going to happen to me again. It's not going to happen to me. So, you know, kind of what drives me. So I don't know. No,
that's good. That's good. I think like I was talking to Branch Warren some time ago, and I asked him what motivated him, and he said, losing. I don't want to feel what I feel when I lose. He said, I hate that. I'm like, oh, that's good. I like that. He's like, go in the gym, and that's how he finds that fuel to, like, you know, go in there and crush all those weights. And he said that when he was an amateur, he was winning so much. And then he said, man, I didn't lose. He said, then I got to be a pro, and all of a sudden I lose the first time. He's like, He was like, I said, fuck that. He's like, that don't feel so good. He's like, I don't like that. So he would go to the gym and just really pour himself into it. And I think all great champions have something that they use to feel. It doesn't have to, not everyone's different, but they all have something. So is that your something?
Yeah, I don't like to lose either. I mean, as much as I know we can't, and sometimes not winning is, but sometimes just not like a bad, like, I don't know, like a bad loss, like, I don't know. Or when I know that I did, like, I wasn't my best, that puts me down. Like, if I know I could have been better and I did something that I might have done wrong, then I'll just kind of like, I'll beat myself in the head, like, why did I do that?
Well, when you look back at your career up to date, what's your what in your mind, what's your worst disappointment and your biggest high, your best success in your mind?
My biggest high is 2015 New York Pro when I won. That was like something that I wanted to do, and I was able to achieve it. And
I was there.
And then I guess my biggest disappointment was I think it would have to be when I lost that Brazil, because I really felt like I had it, and I was there, and I'm like, it was just like, yes, I'm gonna get that interview, and it was just so close, and then losing it, and I was just like if I could have betted my life that I was gonna win, I would have said yes. And then when they announced me for second, I just like, what? Like I was totally lost. So
it happens, right? Like, so this year, it's the anticipation is that you're gonna go there. And who's gonna be? Do you know? I haven't looked at if there's a list.
I have no idea.
Do you even look at that stuff, or you just show up and like whoever's
I never really
there?
pay mind. I really try not to get that in my head, because I know that everybody's great, and and I just kind of try to focus on bringing my best, because I know if I bring my best and somebody slightly off, it's like anything. It's who's on, who's not, So it's like I kind of just try to focus and not give too much energy to other competitors unless they're directly calling me out. So I try not to.
Do you get a lot of? I don't really keep track of a lot of the banter that goes on half the time because it's not half it's just crap. But do you get a lot? Do you get a lot of that going on, or do you pay attention?
No. Only time I had that was last year with Nathan. Him going into the New York Pro, he was kind of like shooting a little. We were both at first having a little bit of fun, and then after that, I kind of just like, all right, fun is over. I'm like, I just kind of want to train and whatever. So I let him and John and a few other guys, Luis Rodriguez, kind of like go, and talk crap online. It was all fun, but it was just like not really my style. I kind of had a little fun for the first few back and forth, and then I was like, all right, that's it. I was like, I gotta focus.
Some people really get into this stuff, like and they take that stuff really personally.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'm not a talker, so it's like I'm not a shit starter. I'm not a shit talker, so it's like at first when it was like you could tell it was like kind of fun, it was okay, but then I felt like sometimes like and it was all plain, sometimes I might have said something that was a little too much, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't think it was gonna be like that. I was like, all right, this is when I got to pull back, and it's like,
I'm going to beat you.
It's not meant that way, and I don't take anything personal. It's just not the way I am. I'm a person I could joke around, but I'm not gonna joke around in a certain manner. So it's like you know what? I'm just gonna chill, and I'm just gonna focus on training, and we'll have fun on stage, and that's it.
That's good, though. I think that's good. Everybody know you should always know your limits.
Yeah.
I'm not. Me. I just don't like giving too much energy to that kind of stuff. I don't rant. I don't hate. I don't like it. Well, to me, it's like what you said. Like, I don't want to give my energy to that, and it's not because. I mean, if somebody feels like they need to, okay. But for me, I like to always feel good in my life, and I become the beneficiary of what I give. So if I'm given hate, or if I'm given spite, or if I'm given frustration, then I feel that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if I'm validated to do it or not. But so I'd rather just give good stuff.
I agree, and like I said, I don't. Some other people, I don't judge them. Like, they could do whatever they want. I just, like, it's everybody's different. To each their own.
Now, so growing up in like New York and all those areas, like rough areas, how did you develop your perspective? Because I know guys that grew up in some of these bad areas that, man, they're hard individuals. Maybe you were at one time, I don't know, but today you seem like you're a very easygoing, very fun-loving, very warm individual. So how did you develop your perspective?
I was always like this, like warm, but I was also very tough. I had a wall, and I would just. I was a pretty tough individual because I grew up in some rough neighborhoods, but I mean, it was just pretty much like when I left the neighborhood, I just didn't want to be there no more. I'm like, I don't want to be here no more. I want to be in a better place. I want to be somewhere where, like, you don't need to worry about walking down the street and whatever. Like, look behind your back and stuff like that. Like, it's just not somewhere I want to be anymore. So my whole thing was, even just now, it's just I want to give, my family, my kids, I want to give them a better life and have somewhere where it's safe and nice. And it's just, but I feel that, in my opinion, I feel like the tough people who act tough all the time and all that stuff, sometimes they're just not the toughest guys or the toughest people,
That's right.
For some, there are some, that they might be tough and they really are, but for the most part, they're not, it's just they always feel like they have something to prove.
I've always felt that some of the really tough guys who are really tough, they usually don't have to say nothing. Those are the motherfuckers you want to be afraid of. It's like, you don't want to mess with them. But the ones who are always talking, the ones who are always pushing their thing, they're usually not always, of course, but they're usually got a chip on their shoulder for some reason or other, and they're the ones who are trying to prove it to everybody else. So they don't feel it on the inside. So outwardly they seem to be pushing it so strongly, but I let everybody do their thing, and I just it's like, go do that thing over there. I don't need to. I'm not going to deal with that. I grew up in some interesting neighborhoods, like in Vegas, North Las Vegas. So it's kind of rough. I remember my brother and I were really the only non-black kids on the block, so I always had. So we had a really challenging childhood early on, but I just took a different. My mother was very loving, very nurturing, and I imagine your mother. You must have had a good. Because I really believe that our family really dictates. Was that?
My mom's like an angel.
Oh, yeah, of course. See, I knew it. I knew that we all. This is where I think our character comes from. It comes from this basis of who we develop when we're young, and we can modify it as we get older, of course. But so I always could tell. It's an energy that people have in their life.
Yeah.
Well, where can everybody reach you, man? And tell everybody what's the next show you're doing is the Arnold Brazil, and then the New York Pro, probably. Nothing in between.
No, just probably those two, and hopefully the Olympia. If not, then we got to go choose a few other shows, but hopefully just those two, God willing.
Well, I think you're going to do well. I think if last year you were that close, and I've seen, like I said, I've seen improvements every year, and I really like the improvements. So I have a lot of faith in you, and I know you do too. And and it sounds like you have a great support system at home, and your wife seems like a very supportive and loving person, and to me that's the most important piece, that we all have that support system, because we don't do any of this alone.
She's very supportive. I have to say. I hear some of the stories, and I'm like, wow. My wife is all about supporting me, and what can we do better and stuff like that. So I'm very, very fortunate. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, and acknowledging it is really, having that level of awareness is so critical. I think, to having the success in our lives. I was just talking to somebody else about this earlier. Man, that's why I always come from this place of gratitude, this place of appreciation, so that way I can always reach my joy as quickly as I possibly can. And part of that is acknowledging that I don't do this alone. I do nothing alone. Okay, none of it. So good. Well, I will be watching, man. I hope you do really well, man. Good luck. I want to see you do that speech. Don't plan it out. I'll be paying attention to that too, but don't get nervous.
I'll do my best. And it was great talking to you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you, man. I know you don't usually do this stuff, and I appreciate it, but you did a great job, and I hope, like I said, I hope I see you at the Olympia this next. I'm sure I'll see you there, but I hope you're on the stage, and I'm sure you will be. All right, brother. You have a wonderful rest of the week, my friend, and I'll talk to you later.
You too, Chad.
All right,
Tad, take care.
See you later, man.
Handle your high with Tadayoshi.